this Hafiz today, and thanks for joining me today. I think we should wait for people to join us in 1 or 2 3 minutes before we start. So if you are here, kindly exercise patience. Let's give them like 2 3 minutes to join us. Thanks for joining me. I remain your host Hafiz today, and I'll be facilitating you today on Microsoft Excel for data analytics. I don't know if you can hear me clearly. Kindly drop something on your chat on the chat. So are we ready to go? Just give me thumbs up, like this video, share with your friend, let them know that there's something going on here. Just do thumbs up and recommend it to others. So when you learn and you pass it to others, I believe you learn more. Are we ready? Still waiting for others to join. So still waiting for others. If you are online, just drop hi on the chat panel, and let's do something quickly within 1 hour. We should be able to cover all what we have for today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and also we have a Facebook page now. You can join in order, maybe if you want to send message to me direct via WhatsApp, if you want to drop something online, just to reach out to me, you can post on our Facebook page, so other will see whatever you are doing. You can connect with people. Just like the page, I will drop the link on the chat. So I think we have, at least we can start now. Can you hear me clearly before I start? I will start sharing my screen. If you can see whatever I'm sharing, don't forget to just tell me you are seeing what I'm displaying on my screen, and also comment if you can hear what I'm saying. So let's go. At least if they can start with us, they can watch later. So as you're watching my YouTube channel, if you're joining us for the first time, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and also share this. Let's share this knowledge. So welcome, and this is Hafiz Babatunde. Let me introduce myself once again. If you have joined me for the first time, my name is Hafiz Babatunde Zakaria. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer, and also I'm a Microsoft certified data analyst. I'm also a software engineer. So, what are we doing here? This is just a business intelligence timeout, whereby we discuss about business intelligence. We discuss about data analytics. How can we upgrade our skill in Microsoft Excel from Microsoft Excel to business intelligence, such as Power BI, Tableau, and Co. So, we've discussed in our previous class. If you are not on the class, maybe like 2 weeks ago and last week, you can go back to our video. You can watch from beginning to the end so that you can catch up with us what we are doing here. So what we are discussing here is all about data. It's all about data. How can you work with data? How can you make sense? How can you make sense out of your data? How can you tell story with your data? So please, if you can hear what I'm saying. Okay. If you can hear me clearly now, just signify, let me know if the volume is better now. If you can hear me clearly now, let me know. Okay. Can you hear what I'm saying now? Is it getting better? Sorry. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for that observation. Let's continue now. I believe you can hear me clearly, right? Okay. Thanks. So, Hafiz Babatunde is a Microsoft certified trainer and also a certified data analyst, as well as software development. If you are also interested in software development, web design, and co, we will later create a series for that as well. So, today, what is going to be our agenda? Our agenda for today is going to be on Microsoft Excel. Last week, we discussed basic aspect of Microsoft Excel, whereby you can, maybe if you want to do basic calculation, some conditional statement, and I guess like addition, subtraction, if, and some other things like that. That was what we discussed last week. And today, we are going to look into some function and formulas in Microsoft Excel. So if you hear about function and formulas, formulas is all about maybe you want to calculate something. How can you get something done? How can you manipulate data? And also we have some inbuilt function of Microsoft Excel. Let's say, for instance, now we know if you want to add two numbers together, you use function of what? Function sum. You sum two numbers together. And also if you want to calculate maybe multiplication, subtraction, and modulus, that was what we discussed last week. And today we want to go higher. We want to move a bit up. Let's kind of shift from basic to, let's move to intermediate little. Like, okay, if you have data, sometimes you want to do string manipulation. Sometimes you want to do let me say you want to use some tricks, like you want to kind of manipulate your data. How can you do that? So in today's class, I think that's what we are going to look into. How can you use if statement, ifs, because we have if statement with one which can take only one condition. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I guess I want to use some ifs here. Some ifs. We have some if. We have some ifs in Microsoft Excel. Also, we have let me say we have average if and average ifs, count if and count ifs. So we have Vlookup. Maybe you want to correlate two data together, and also we have if blank. How can you work with all this formula? How can you work with some inbuilt function of Microsoft Excel? So those are the things we are going to look into today. Yeah. So let me start my Microsoft Excel and see what we can practice together. If you have any observation, any maybe something that is not clear to you, just cut me off. Maybe on your chat, on the chat box, just kind of tell me whatever you feel like. What are we not doing right and what we need to improve on? And also don't forget to share this video, share with your friends, let them also join us to learn, so we learn together. Yeah, let me go into my data. Let me open my Microsoft Excel so that we start something. Okay. We have some basic functions. Okay, let's go here. Let me start with if statement. Let's open our workbook. We remember last week we used one particular workbook for our training. I will not delete that. I've promised to share it with everyone. If you need it, just kind of message me, or just message me on Facebook. Go to our Facebook page, message me, and I will respond to you. Or you drop your email, I will forward the workbook to you. So let me get this out. Okay. Oh, sorry, I still forgot to remove this password. Last week we discussed about how we can protect our workbook up in our previous class, and that was the reason why I still passworded this. So, and last week, this was where we stopped last week, where we can create a little maybe simple chart with our Microsoft Excel with simple data like this. And today, let's start with our if statement. I will copy some of our data to this place. Okay, let me check if I can get more data on my system. Let's get some sample data. Okay, let me copy this. Let's go to our program on YouTube. Okay, let me paste it here. Okay, let me open this workbook. Okay, I have more data here. Okay, let me also, if you can see my screen clearly, just let me know. If you cannot see it, let me know. So I have, okay, let me copy this data. I will do this from test score and exam score. Okay, let's assume that we have students, and let me paste it here. In our school, let me say I will do some string manipulation here today. So let's do email. Let's give them email. Also, let's do this. Email test score, and also we have let me email, let's say English, let's call this mathematics. Let's assume that we have physics also, and we have total, and also we have average score, average. So this is our data. Okay, let's generate email for this student. Okay, let's assume that I have another student today. Who will be my student today? Who will be my student? Okay, let me add some students. Let me add Abib. I have Abib on our chat today. Abib. Let's add another student. Do we have any new student here? We have Yunus Olaide. So let's go. Okay, I want to quickly show you some things. How can you, let me say, do some string manipulation. Let's do string manipulation. Yeah, this is email. Let's assume that I want to generate email for my student, and I want this email to be unique. Let's assume that I want to use their first name, or let me say the first letter of their first name, concatenate with what? With their last name at, what's the name of the school? Let's assume that let's say the school is give me name of one school that we can use. Okay, let's say the school is what YouTube. Okay, why YouTube business timeout, business intelligence timeout. Okay, let's just say at ybi.com. That's what we want to generate. So generating this, how many ways can we use to generate this email? Okay, let me go to my email. Let's do this. Let's do, how can I get first letter of that first name? That's very important. How can I get the first letter of this first name? Okay, let's do this. Equals to what? Equals to left. Can you see I'm using function now, which is inbuilt function. I want to use left function, saying that help me to pick alphabet from where? From first, like let me say from left. And the Excel is asking me to pass my argument. I have left function, open bracket, tell me what is your argument, like which text from which cell. I can do what? I can go straight and do what? And pick my cell, which is what? Cell C2 here now. I pick it. And the next thing is what? How many number of characters do I want to pick from left? I don't know if you get that right. I hope you understand what I'm trying to explain here. Yeah, let me pick this. I need one character. I'll just do 1. That's the how many number of character I need from left. Let's do enter and see. You see, the first one is what? The first character from this name is what? O. So I have O. Then what do I want to do? I want to concatenate it with what? With the last name. So how do I concatenate? In Microsoft Excel, you concatenate with what? You can use concat, or you can do you can use ampersand. Let's say for instance now I want to concatenate, maybe I have Hafiz Babatunde, and I want to concatenate both together to give me full name. You understand? I'll just do equals to concat which test? This test and this test, and I will close it. You see, I have my concatenation here, as you can see, but there's no space at the middle. There's no space. So what do I need to do? I can do this and concatenate what? Concatenate what? Space between them. Do this, as you can see. I can use this, which as well can also give me the same. Let me do this. I can get the same result with what? Using equal sign, this, concatenate with ampersand. I will put space in between and do another ampersand, and then concatenate with this last name, and I will do what? Press enter. As you can see, I'm having the same result. So let's see, how can we now concatenate our first alphabet with dot? Don't forget, we want to generate email now. We are doing string manipulation. This is how you can do. Sometimes you might need all these things while working with your data. You want to generate email for students. You have thousands of students and you want to generate email for them. So you don't need to suffer yourself by doing it one after the other. You need to do what? Just do everything once, and then you move on with your next thing to do. So yeah, let's do this. I have this. What next? What do I need? Let me concatenate. Let me use function concatenate. So before we normally use concatenate, but now if you can see some formulas in Microsoft Excel, if you type them, if they are not up to date, you will see concatenate. So you see, this is what the yellow sign is showing, what? That okay, this is depreciating, like okay, Microsoft is no more recognizing this. So very soon they will remove this from Microsoft Excel. Maybe in the next version of Microsoft Excel, they'll just remove it, and then you only see this concat. So now I want to concatenate this. So let me use the formula. Let me do concat equals to concat. So the first thing I'm combining together is what? This left. Next thing I need from this is what? Space. I need space in between. No. This what? Don't forget, this is our email. We don't need space in our email. Yeah. So the next thing I want to concatenate now is dot. I'm adding dot here. So after dot, I need to add what? My last name, which is this. Then I need to add what? At YBI.com. So I will put, so far you are dealing with string, you have to put them inside quote. You want to type character in, so you have to type them inside quote. So this parentheses, okay, sorry. So I will do at YBI.com. Then what next? So this is all what I need, and I will close this off. So let's see what we have as our email. So I have o.victor@ at ysbi.com. I don't know if you get it right. This string manipulation. I'm picking the first letter of the first name dot the last name at ysbi.com. So that's our email. If you have any issue with this, just ask your question now before we move forward. So let's do this again. So I can do this for all. So I don't need this. You see, I don't need to stress myself. I don't need to stress myself. I believe we are getting it. Can we move on? Any question? This is first way of doing it. We can still have another way of doing it, because we have flash fill in our Microsoft Excel, and also we have let me say artificial intelligence in our Microsoft Excel. So kindly confirm, do you really understand what we did? We picked the first letter from the left of our first name, concatenate with the last name, and then at YBI. We are generating email for our student. Okay, let's move on. So I'm seeing response. So another way of doing this, let me hide this. You can hide your column. Let me insert new column here. Okay, let me do email 2. How can I do this? Because I'm using latest version of Microsoft Excel, I can do flash fill in my Microsoft Excel. What do I mean by flash fill? Maybe immediately you are typing something, Excel will kind of think along with you, like, oh, this is what this person is trying to do, and it will quickly give you suggestion of what you have to do. So now let's do this. Let's do this. Coming. Yes. Okay. So let's do our second email. Sorry, trying to do something here. Okay, let me do this. Okay, how can we generate our email? Let me do this. Equal sign, or don't even use equal sign. This one you want to use artificial intelligence in Microsoft Excel. You want Excel to kind of think along with you, to help you to flash fill your data. So I will do this. I will just type o.victor, that's the first name, at ysbi.com. The second one I will type K. You see, the moment I entered K as second email, picking the first name of the first letter of Komolafe, showing me automatically trying to do what? It helps me to do what? To flash fill what I want to do. The Microsoft has just tried to suggest for me, like, okay, this is what you are trying to do. And you see, this awesome, this perfect function of Microsoft Excel. This is great. The only thing you need to do, just press enter and you are done. If you have 10,000 students, this is how it will appear immediately. So the next thing to do, okay, let's kind of move faster. I think we have less than 30 minutes now. So let's assume I have English, I have 45 here, I have, okay, let me say I have 67, I have 50, I have 70, I have 56, 20, 78. So I have all this. So, and I have in my physics I have 90, I have 90 here, I have 85, and I have let me say 40, I have 55, and I have 50. So I'm having 76 here, I'm having 45 here. So let's do total. We all know the total should be what? You can use equal sign to get sum. If you want to use shortcut, just use alt key plus equal sign. Do this. Let me type it here. Sum shortcut key. You do what? For sum, alt plus equal sign. So if you press alt and equal sign, it will give you sum immediately. So come back here, just press what? Just do enter. So I have this, I can just do this, and let's assume we have Daniel in our midst, Olu, and we have his email to be what? D dot what? You have sorry, okay, sorry. So the only problem we are having here is like you can't drag it down, you have to do it again, like you want to do D dot Olu at what? YBI.com. But if we are using table, if assuming that we have converted our data to table, it will automatically affect it immediately. So let's do this. Olu has 56 in English, 90 in mathematics, and we have 33 in physics. So as you can see, we have our sum immediately. So let's do average. Let's move faster. Average is equals to what? Equals to average of what? Average of all what we are doing. So average of all these three, and you do what? You do this. Let me do. So let's do what? Let's try to reduce the decimal point. You can go to your number, this where we are, and do what? Reduce the decimal point. So you can leave it on what? 0.1 decimal point, like this. So another thing I want us to look at is like this. Let's use if statement. If the total if the average score of our student is above 60 is A, let's write it down. If we do what? Let me go to my PowerPoint. Let's do new slide. Okay, new slide, and let me just use this. I want to do if greater than, okay, let me do symbol, greater than equals to what? 60, 70 A. That's our first condition. So equivalent to this. So, and if we have greater than or equal to 60, should be what? Equivalent to B. We have B. So if if we have greater than or equals to 50, and that is C. That's C. So this is what we are trying to do. These are our conditions, and let's do to D. So if we have greater than or equals to 40, yeah, I guess okay, 40 is normal mark. So and we have what here? We have D. So S, we do what? S, F. This is what we are trying to implement with our Excel. So we are having this. So this is what we are trying to implement. Let's go back and do this. Grade. Let's do grade. And equals to if our average equals to if the logical function should be what? Logical test we are passing to your if statement is going to be what? If your average is greater than or equals to what? Equals to 70. So the value is going to be what? Let me A. So S, that's the next thing, because if the value is true, the system give you value if true. The next thing to pass here is what? If the value is what? Is false. So I will do another if again. If this is greater than or equals to 60, I am having another argument here, which is another true statement, which is what? B. And the next thing to do is to pass another argument, another condition. So if your average is greater than or equals to what? Equals to 50. Okay. We are having C. So another argument is what? If logical test this is greater than or equals to 40, we are having D. So we are having D. The next thing is what? If all these conditions are not met, you are having F. So you close the bracket, you close it. How many if do we use? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 ifs. Let's close our bracket with what? I guess we are done. Yeah, we use how many ifs for, and I guess we are through. Yeah, so this is what we have. So you can do this, you can just drag it down automatically. If by mistake you change anything here, 80, you see this person is scoring A. So that's how it works. That's how you can use, we use nested ifs. So that's all about this. And let's go to another thing. So let's go and try some ifs, because from our agenda we said we are going to see how we can use some ifs. Okay, let me open this data that I have with me. I have this data. So let me do something here. This data is too much. I don't need this. We are not yet in this. Let me check. So BI training. Let me check this out. Okay, let me copy this data. Control A and Control C. I think this is better. So some ifs, that's where we are now. This is nested if. So So let's try to use some ifs. Let me paste that data here. So this is our data. This is our data. So I want to do something. I have a data here because it says data to be precise. So I have this data here. So I want to convert this data to table now. We have two ways of presenting data in Microsoft Excel. We have range and we have table. So this normally if you type into your worksheet, it will show you in which format. In normal, let me say range of data, it will show you as a range. So you are selecting from so cell to another cell. That means you are selecting range of data. But in this format now, we want to convert this to table, so that by the time I'm referencing to this data, I will be able to pick anyone that I want, any column that I want to use. I will be able to pick it. So I'm converting it to this table by going to my data. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So under Home tab, you go to Style. I want to format it as table. You can see. So you can pick any format that you want here. So I'll just click on it. Just click on this, and it will pop up like this. So let me assume that I want to convert my data to this type, to this format. It will ask me if my data has headers. So at least I have date, I have order ID, I have product ID, I have salesman, I have region. My data, I can click because that means I have headers on my data. So click it. So I have this data now as a table, as you can see. So the next thing to do here is like this. Okay, let me call it we want to do some ifs. Okay, let's call this data, and let me calculate here. Let me calculate something here. I want to get net sales, and also I want to get total profit of per pair, total profit, because we have three products here. We have pepper, we have sugar, we have palm oil. So let me get total profit of what? Okay, let me get total profit. Under total profit, I need let me say, let me merge this and center it. Under total profit, I need sugar, total profit for sugar. I need total profit for palm oil, and I need total profit for pepper. So from this place, we should be able to understand how to use some ifs very well. And also I want to get count. I want to use count if as well. Let me say number of orders. Sorry, I guess my system just went off. Let me extend. Okay, sorry. Let me extend this. So let me correct this. Sorry. think I have an issue with my system. Okay, let's go back. I think we are fine now. We are good. Sorry for that. Now let me go back to my workbook. I want to get number of orders, or yeah, number of orders for each product. Okay, for each salesman, number of order per salesman. So here now I have Adekunle, I have Chinedu. How can I get all this if I let assume that I don't even know them? So you can quickly run through this and filter. Let me do just do this. I have Adekunle. So I have Adekunle. I have Chinedu. I have Zainab. So let's assume that these are the things we need from here. So what will be our net sales? That's the first thing. Let me do merge and center for this. To calculate this, I need what? Equal sign. So let's do shortcut key. For this, I need to get the net sales. Okay, net sales. That means I want to sum this column together. Everything on this column, I want to sum everything together. So what do I have to do? I only need to let's use some, but before we move forward, let's rename this our column so that we can call them whatever we like. We can reference to them at any time. How can you do that? We have this date column. This is my date. Okay, let me change this to date format. I have this. So the next thing to do, I want to rename this. Make sure you are placing your cursor like this. You will see one arrow pointing down. Let me do this so that we can see clearly. You can see as I'm placing my cursor here, I'm having something like arrow pointing down. So just click on it and come to your name box and rename it to date. Let's call this column date and press enter. Make sure you hit enter immediately you do that. And the next thing to do is what? To rename this order ID and change it to what? OID. Let's call it like that. OID. Yeah. So and the next thing is product. Let's call it product. The next thing to do is salesman. We have salesman. Let's hit enter. We have region. Let's call it region so that we can reference to this column later. Let's call this number of customer, NOC, customer. So number of customer. Net sales, let's call it N sales. So and then we have profit and loss. Let's call it PL. profit loss. So that's how you can rename your column. So now I want to use my sales column in this total net sales. I want to calculate the net sales. I can do what? Equal sign some what? Some, let me call the whole column net. Okay, end sales. You see, immediately I type the name that I use for that column, it will pops up on my while typing my formula. So I'll just do this, sum this. So I have the total net sales of my sales data. So what you can do is just convert it to normal currency format. You can see. So we can change it to naira. Just drop down. So we come to more. Under accounting, instead of dollars, you can see when you scroll down, you should see Nigerian naira there. So we have Hausa, we have Igbo, we have Kanuri, we have Yoruba. If you are Yoruba, if you are Hausa, just pick anyone. Naira is naira. We are all spending naira. So this is what we have now in naira. So the next thing to do is what? We want to calculate the total profit for what? For our sugar. Now this is where we use some ifs. We use some with what? With conditional statement. We use some with conditional statement. There's a way you can also change your figure, like instead of giving you dollars by default while working with Microsoft Excel. If you are in Nigeria and you want to use naira, you don't want to use dollar, there is a way you can do it, but just change it to your currency anywhere you are watching me from. So yeah, the next thing to do is what? I want to calculate the total number, total profit we got from sugar, from palm oil, from pepper. Okay, let's do this. We go here and we do some ifs. We have some if, we have what? We have some ifs. But the best practice is to use some ifs. What if you want to pass another condition tomorrow? So sum range. I want to sum where profit. Just use your profit loss. You want to sum profit loss. Don't forget we name this column profit loss. Immediately you type, you enter that, it will highlight that column for you, as you can see on my screen. So what will be my criteria? The criteria number one should be what? My criteria range is where am I looking at? Where product, don't forget we use product, is equals to what? Sugar, and this is my sugar. And let me close the bracket. Let's see, do we have that? Yeah. So the total, the sum of my, let me convert this to, okay, let's just use dollar auto. Let's change it. Let's use dollar auto. I don't want to be changing one after the other. Change it. So let me do this. And let me change this one to this like this. So the total profit for sugar is this. The same thing, but let's see something. Let's see what will happen here. Are we all good? So because I'm having one condition, that is why I can drag down. The time will come that you won't be able to drag down again. It won't work. You have to use absolute value of whatever you want to check. So now the next thing is what? Let's calculate the net sales of each salesman with what? From, let's say, net sales from Adekunle, where region is equals to Lagos. don't know if you get that. You want to get the total sales of Adekunle from where? From Lagos. Okay, let me do this. We have 3 regions on our data. I can do this. Let me move this down a little bit. Let me cut and do this and paste. So let me do salesman. Let me do PH Abuja, and let me do Lagos here. So as you can see here now, what we are trying to calculate is nothing but the total sales of each salesman from where? From each region. That means we are passing 2 conditions into our sum if function. So though you will later blame me that, oh, why are you using this long way for us, but it's better to know how to do it in this format than just rush into shortcut. So we'll soon be there. Okay, let me do this. Let me do if, okay, so equals to sum ifs. I'm passing 2 parameters now. Sum ifs what? Net sales, end sales. What's the first condition? The first condition is asking me for where. What's the name of my salesman, which is going to be salesman, which is Adekunle. And the second parameter is what? My region. Where is my region? And my region is where? PH and PAM. So you close this bracket and you do this. I hope you get it. That's how it works. So the same thing, if you now copy this data now, let me do this data. Let me do this. Will it work? Let me do this for all. It will not work. It will not work. So the next thing to do here is what? Let's check it this. Let's check. Yeah, let's check. So we have Chinedu, that's the next person. So we have our, now we don't want this to move. We want to lock this. Don't move to anywhere. If I do this and come back to my formula and come to my region, which is L9. L9, see, anytime I drag you down, don't move. Don't change. So remain your pH, don't go down. So that's where we use absolute value. Absolute what? Absolute value. You put to the left, don't move. To the right, and vertically, don't move. Horizontally, don't move. Be there. L9, don't move anywhere. So you do this. Let's drag again and let's see what will happen. As you can see, it works. And this for who? If I check this formula now, this Chinedu at where? Chinedu at pH. The second formula is what? The last one is what? This is what? Zainab at where? At pH. And that's perfect. So the next thing to do, let me convert it to yeah, let's do this. That's fine. So you can do the same thing for Abuja. If I share this file with you, I guess we all understand this. We should all understand this. So if you have any question, just ask me before we move forward. And don't forget, we still have some things left. Oh, can we do Vlookup today? Can we do count? Count is still the same thing with what? With this, with my sum ifs. We can do that. Let's do this. Let me count. How many orders do we have? Total order that we have in our data. We can do this. you can say equals to count. Let me count product. Let me count how many product, how many order do we have. Date. Let me count date, and we have this. So the total number of order that we got is what? 1,325. So let's assume that I highlight everything here. You can see count, we are having the same thing here. I can count where sales where sales man is equals to Adekunle. How many order do we get from that? So okay, to get absolute value, Olumide is asking that. How do we get absolute value? Just use F4 on your, click at the middle. Let me go back there. You do this between L9 and between L9, just press anywhere, whether front or back, and use what? Use F4, function key F4 on your system. So it will turn into absolute value. So that's how it works. So let's move forward. I said this is how we can count. I can also count for Adekunle alone. Total order by Adekunle by Adekunle. So let me wrap this test and reduce the size. So total order by Adekunle, I can say count if this equals to count ifs. See, what's my criteria range? My criteria range is going to be order. Let me go to order ID, order OID, comma. My first criteria is where salesman is equals to what? My salesman is equals to Adekunle. I can also input it instead of selecting it somewhere. I can also input it like this, Adekunle. So, and also I want to get how many order do we have from Adekunle from Lagos. Okay, the next thing should be what? Where is my region? And the next parameter to pass is what is going to be my region. My region should be from Lagos. So make sure you type it in the same format. If you don't type it in the same format you have from the file, it won't work. So, oh sorry, what do you have here? Saying what's our error? Adekunle and region. Okay, saying that I entered too few arguments. What's the error? So okay. Sorry. Count ifs criteria range. Okay. OID. And then the criteria. Okay, let me do this. And Lagos. That's criteria 2, and then let me press enter. You see, this is total number of sales that we have, order that we have from Adekunle. From where? From Lagos. So this is how this thing works. This is how we can get all this. We can get them done within few minutes, you are done with your calculation. But what if, and also we can't do Vlookup again today. I will make it next week because you need to understand it better. But what do we use Vlookup for? Okay, let's assume that. Let me just overview it. Let me copy some other ID here. Let me copy few. Okay, we have other ID. Let me say we have this. Let me try Vlookup if we can do it before we wrap up for today. Vlookup. We do other ID. So we have okay, let me drop those ID there. Let me just copy view. So and place it here. So and let me say number of customer on this number of customer. So based on this ID, let me convert this to table. Control A and Control T and do this. So what do we have here? Let me do something. Here. So that you can see my screen clearly. So let me do this. I want to know how many number of customer we have on this ID, other ID. This should be, yeah, is it number of customer? Okay. I want to get this value to this Vlookup sheet. How can I get that? What only thing I need to do is, okay, I want to correlate this for okay, do we have some things on that other table that we don't have here? Is it possible? Yes. So is it possible that, okay, from I only need other number of customer on this table, I don't need other things based on their other ID. So I can just do this equals to, I will tell us what Vlookup is. Let me just do this. Vlookup, we call it vertical lookup. So what? So the only thing we have to do here is just look up value. What are we looking for? We are looking for this ID. From which table array? From which table? I'm looking for it from this data. And I can highlight all this, can do this and take it down, and then what do I want to return? I want to return our number of customers is on which column? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to return column 5. Then another comma. Do I want to return exact match value or approximately? No, I need exact value, which is false. You have to use false to return that. So as you can see, it returned the number of customer from that table to this table. That's all about Vlookup. You are using it to correlate two tables together. You can use it to check if something is okay from the other table. So let me do this. So let me quickly explain. By next week we are going to look into it very in a detailed way, like maybe we use some data to practice what we understand, what is all about, what is Vlookup all about. So Vlookup is just standing for what? Vertical. The V is what means vertical, and is an inbuilt function in Microsoft Excel which allows you to establish a relationship between different columns of Excel. In other words, it allows you to do what? To find, or let me say, to look up a value from one column of data and return its respective or corresponding value from where, from another column. And that's what we just practice now. We have done that from that table. So I don't know if you have any question. I think we have run out of time. We have used over 1 hour. So if you have any question based on Vlookup, if you have any, we are going gradually. We are going to advanced level. After Vlookup, we look into pivot table. We then after pivot table, we are going to look into how we can use advanced tools within Microsoft Excel, such as Vlookup. Let me say Power Query, Power View, Power Map, and co. So we are going to check out how we can use all those functionality. What if you have big data? How can you manipulate it? How can you use Power Query to do and undo it? Like perfect your data, send it to your data model, and then use it to do any report, any type of report you want to give to your people or from your place of work. I guess we are good. So thanks to everyone. See you next week. Don't forget to like this video, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to share with your friend. Thanks everyone.